to take us through the session. Great. So Edward, I'll request to use your sharing of the screen, please, and then take me to slide number 1. Now we are talking about the personal financial management journey here. It's a journey that has many phases to it, but we have summarized it into 10 steps. If you've been here long enough, interacting with Mwalimu Biashara, you'll hear about these 10 steps. What is this thing I need to do to be able to plan my finances well, right? So step number 1 starts with you understanding your current financial health. Where are you today? What is the pulse of your financial journey? What goals do you want to reach? Okay, what dreams do you have? That's where the whole journey starts, by understanding your current financial health. Then in step number 2, you're talking about what is your relationship with money. Many times we have various perspectives about money, and it's guided by so many things: our upbringing, our support system, our sources of income, our risk profiles. There are so many things that determine how do you behave with money. And you see, the fact that it's called personal is what makes it exactly that, that each of us has a unique money story. And that's what we need to understand in step number 2. Before we go to focusing our lives in step number 3, that is to say, where do I want to go exactly? What car do I want to drive? Where do I want to live? If I'm blessed with children, what education system do I want to give them? If I'm planning something back home, how does that look like? So the ability to plan out your life with certainty and taking at least the vision to where it's supposed to be is step number 3. There is a huge animal in the house called debt. Debt is step number 4. It affects us in very many ways. And we always say there's good debt, there is bad debt, there is ugly debt. So the idea is debt can actually help you if you do it the right way. But then we say you do it for a season of your life. You don't manage your life through debt all the time. A time comes when you go to step number 5, where you're thinking about your savings. With you know that by the way, savings, we don't do savings as the last thing. We do savings as the first thing, because the moment we put it as the last one, it really happens. There's a whole culture around savings. There's a whole formula towards it. And that's step number 5. When we start learning how to put something aside. Before we go to the next step, number 6, which is investments. Savings was just meant to give you a safety net. You have something for a rainy day. You're careful that you don't lose it. But when you get to step number 7 of investments, now you're hungry for growth. You're looking for a return. You're looking for a profit. You're looking to grow. And that is step number 6. And there are many kinds of investments which we can help you understand which one is appropriate for whatever time and circumstances that you're in. Step number 7 is one of the least talked about steps in personal finance, the risk and return concept. As human beings, we don't want to talk about bad news. We don't take in bad news nicely, me included. But hey, in the world of money, it is a very important concept to understand what can go wrong. That is step number 7. Because then there are some things that you want to avoid in your personal financial management journey. There's a way you want to plan. How much are you willing to lose? How much can you even afford to lose? And how can you even minimize this kind of losses? Is step number 7. Our 3 more steps, with step number 8 being planning your finances about retirement and building your investment portfolio. At one point, we want to stop working very hard and rest. Now, that's not a matter of age, it's a matter of a state. All of us are working towards a place where you are putting energies now so that in future the monies can come with you putting in less energy. This is the golden step. There is a formula towards planning your retirement, and that's what we help you do in step number 8. Before we go to step number 9, to realize that money does not operate in isolation. There are so many things that affect our money, whether it's political, whether it is taxes, legal issues, um, technological issues. There's so many things that affect our money. So we open up our perspective and say, how do I understand these things? And especially knowing what to do so that I take advantage of the environment. Before you go to step number 10, where we are putting things together and we are building a culture. We are building the right habits. We are changing who we are after going through these 10 steps. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what Mwalimu Biashara does, whether it's a webinar like this, whether it is our paid sessions, whether it is an event we are holding. This is the blueprint that we take people through. How really can you manage your finance? Towards the end of the session, I'll be coming back again to tell you how this is going to look like. But for now, I want to hand it over to Mr. Edward, who's ready to take us through today's subject, black tax. I also can't wait to hear from it from Edward. But Edward, over to you. Take us home. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kennon, for that amazing introduction about Mwalimu Biashara, what we do, and how this affects your finances. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to dive right into the black tax topic. And I know you're wondering, in this process that our financial coach Kennon has shared, black tax iko wapi? Is it in my current financial health? Is it in my relationship with money? Is it in my forecasting, my plans? Is it in my investments? And ladies and gentlemen, the truth that I can let you know is black tax is in every stage of this coaching program that you're bringing. Why is that? It's because of a certain thing that we call black tax. Where is the word black tax originating from? It originates from an African culture where more or less people are geared towards giving you the perfect environment when it comes to your finances. So, for example, someone says, I scratched your back when you were young, I scratched your back when you were a baby, nilikuja nikakubeba ukiwa mtoto. Now that you're older and you're making some bit of chums and you're living in Nairobi, nisaidie na kakitu bwana, because you're the one who has the money. So it's more or less like something that has been imprinted. And today we're going to be looking at a bit more of the genesis of it, where it came from, and ideally where is it heading to. So allow me to proceed exactly from where Kennon had left off, and we are going to ask you a question in the chat section. So kindly go to the chat section and tell us here who we are in the meeting. I can see we have Progresso, Boy, and Elias, and Noah, and Moriti Mongi. Go to the chat section and let me know in which age bracket are you in. All right, in which age bracket are you in? Are you between 20 and 30? Are you between 30 and 40? Are you between 40 and 50? Or are you above 50? Yeah, so your answer will be making sense within the next 30 or so minutes. So kindly go to the chat section and let us know, and let me know within which age bracket are you in. You can say in your 20s or 30s or 40s or even 50. Don't worry, we're not here to judge you. We're here to ensure that we give you your right profile even as you go to the next section. So I'll be waiting for the next that response probably in the next 30 or so seconds. So in which age bracket are you in? Are you between 20 years? Are you between 30 years? Are you between 40 years? Are you between 50 years? Allow me to go to the chat section. I can see Kennon has started off. Kennon ametuambia between 40 and 50. Thank you so much, Kennon. I'm waiting for another 2 more responses so that you can be able to proceed. In which age bracket are you in? Noah Wesonga anatuambia mimi ndiko between 20 and 30 years. Thank you so much, Noah. We will be giving you the answers to that in a short while. Anyone else? Wamboi K, Moreti Mwangi, I can see we have Progresso. Who else is there? Who else is there? Kindly, I'm waiting for one more answer so that you may be able to proceed. In which age bracket are you in? In which age bracket are you in? Great. I can see Moreti Mwangi has given us a response. Moreti Mwangi anatuambia between 30 and 40 years. Asante sana, guys. Thank you so much for that. And I'll be telling you why I am asking you that very particular session. And the reason is this. Black tax was not born Black tax is a result of how we were brought up. And this is the reason. In the African setting, a lot of us were able to come up with something called the family safety net. You know, back in the day, we were told that the reason why watu walikuwa nazaliwa wengi is because we didn't have human labor. So the many you were in the family setting, then the more security, a sense of security was there. When you went to our forefathers, our grandparents, even some of us, our fathers, we had how many, what, 8 siblings, 9 siblings, 12 siblings, and that was able to give the home a sense of security. And if someone struggled, for example, if you know ulikuwa tunaenda kwa shamba and you are in the range of 6 brothers and 4 sisters, hiyo shamba unasema hata kama ni eka moja, mlikuwa mnaifyeka in less than 1 week. And the reason is because there was unity and there was strength in numbers. And the reason why we call, at that time, it wasn't known as black tax. So if someone had an issue, for example, in the village, everyone used to come and chip in. And everyone saw it as a sense of love. And the problem of this is, as time has progressed, that has been able to be culturalized, and now we're seeing it's more now of a system. And that has become a problem. African Development Bank Financial Inclusion, a report done in 2022 says the informal family support systems have historically replaced formal social protection across sub-Saharan Africa, meaning that kitambo kukuwa na mambo ya NHIF na pension na government support hapana. If one of us was in an issue, then all of us were in the issue, all right? And so we continue and we see how has this morphed, how has this grown in the current setting. So the reason why I was asking you of your age group, it's because these are the different age groups that we have. So for those of us who are 40, 45 years and above, those are the carriers. Hao ndio tunaitanga wao ndio walianzisha, those are the generators. They're the carriers of this thing that you call black tax. Hao ndio walienda pale wakaambiwa, yo, we are 50 of you and all of us, we are a family. Hallelujah. And then now we move to the ones who are between 30 or 35 and 45 years. These are called the old millennials. Hawa ni wale, at least we can be able to see what sort of generation. I'm going to be giving you more information about them even as we proceed. And then we move to those who are between 25 and 35 years. Those, we call them the young millennials, and some of the Gen Zs are also there. And then we head to those who are between 18, or rather now between 20 to 30 years, and this we call them the Gen Z disruptors. These are the people who are coming and knocking off every cultural thing that you can see, and they're moving at such a pace that you're wondering, wow, this is the power of the young people. So, Edward, so how is this in and affected Yesawa? You've told me that you have the carriers. You've told me you have the old millennials and the young millennials and the Gen Zs. So how is this affecting me? And it takes us directly to this concept that we call that we are all in the same family. Our dads, our grandparents, our sisters, our siblings, our kids even. But we are in completely different relationships when it comes to money. For those who are 45 years and above, these are the people who grew up in the post-independence Kenyan era. This was the time when scarcity was real. This was the time where sharing was a form of survival. This was where saying no, ulikuwa unaonekana, by the way, you're not for the community. If one of us has a problem, then all of us have a problem. They built the culture of black tax without knowing it had a proper name. These are the people who we know, ulikuwa unaenda Nairobi and unaambiwa your uncle is in Nairobi somewhere, utaenda uishi na yeye, and it was seen as a form of help. And we do not say that this was a bad thing, but ideally, we are seeing that this was the people which, so if one of us have made it, then all of us have made it. I don't know, for some of you to remember, I remember this is something that my uncle told me, that there was once our one when he was traveling to go to those European states, almost the entire village ilikuwa inaenda kwa airport to see one of them off. And all of them used to see him. They got to feel like people nasikia, hey, that is where Joroge is. Joroge kwa ile gari, kwa ile ndege, without even knowing which ndege ilikuwa ni ndege gani. But the entire village knew huyu ni mtu wetu. How many of you can relate to this story of where the graduation ceremony used to happen? When that one person graduated, the entire village used to come and celebrate with you. Why? Because they've seen if one of us have made it, then all of us have made it. Then you go to the second generation, those between 35 and 45. This is the first generation to get formal employment. These are the people who are expected to uplift the entire family. This was this one person who was the first born, alikuwa naambiwa umefika form 4, wacha sasa wewe endelee utafute kazi, wacha hawa wengine nifanye nini, tuwasomeshe. How many of you people can relate? Kindly go to the chat section and let us know. This is the age group which has been sandwiched between aging parents and growing children. So they are stretched. And even a report by Ipsos Kenya 2023 and the ADB Financial Inclusion Report of 2022 says that this is the most financially stretched generation in Kenya today. This is a person who's handling not only their parents, but their parents-in-law. This is the person who's not only their children, but they're also helping their nephews, their cousins, wote wamekuja kwa nyumba moja. Na wanasema you're in Nairobi, my cousin or my uncle yangu kwa Nairobi na mimi nimeenda university, nitaenda niishi na uncle yangu. How many of you can be able to relate to this? So even as we are having these discussions, those of us who said that in this age bracket of it, or even some of them, some of the people who joined us now, you can be able to see, okay, so this is where I was able to grab it. Let's proceed and see. We've seen those who are 45 years and above. We've seen those who are 35 years and between 35 and 45. So what about those who are between 20 to 30 or 25 to 35? This group of people, they are one of the most educated people in this country. They are employed and they are aware. When we say they're aware, we say that yes, this is the group which is very much aware there's something called black tax. Huyu ni ule mtu aliambiwa akimaliza shule akaambiwa we have 4 siblings behind you, you are the one who's going to take care of your siblings because wewe umefika university, you are learned now, go and make that money and help us to be able to raise your brother, help us to be able to raise your sister. This generation between 25 and 35, these are the young millennials, these are the people who know that black tax is a problem. But there is one problem with that black tax. This is the generation that cannot say no. Their operating system is guilt. Huyu ni yule mtu anaambiwa, anapiga simu anaambiwa, yo, we need 5,000 Kenya shillings. Ng'ombe iko imeumia ama ng'ombe ni gonjwa. Na anasema mimi sina pesa. Anaambiwa, oh, you know, tulikusomesha na ile ng'ombe, we had to sell the entire ng'ombe in that village, in the neighboring city. We had to do this and do this. So these are the people who, when it comes to this thing called guilt, it is driven in their system until they cannot say no. They dread because they see that call from their uncle, they see that call from their grandparents or someone from the village, and they know who you come as your salamu ni pesa. How many of you can be able to relate to that? This is the generation that is driven by guilt. These are the people who know I have to take care of my parents, I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my uncle, of my niece, and even to some extent, yule chief ako pale nyumbani because yana ananiambia what is happening kwa shamba ya shosho ama shamba fulani wa fulani. All right? So we go now to this generation that we call the Gen Z. These are the revolters. These are the people who know no cultural bounds. These are the people who are shaking the state. And what in the Gen Z line, when we're talking about black tax, remember we're looking around the habits that have been formed and how do they affect us as a people, right? So Gen Zs are the people who grew up watching their parents drown in financial obligations. Gen Z are the people who watched their parents drown in financial obligations. They used to go to high school na wanashangaa mbona napatiwa pocket money ya 500 inanisurvive aje for 3 months. Yet I can see my father is paying for my cousin and my cousin's cousin, who is my uncle's brother and my auntie's niece. How is that even affecting us? So Gen Z are the generation who came and saw, yani, you mean to tell me that my father anaumia because of these people and yet at home we are not making ends meet? How is that fair? And Gen Zs, they are very much determined not to repeat the cycle of black tax. They saw their parents suffering, they've seen their aunties suffering, they've seen in the family settings when they go for the family meetings in December, how their parents are treated because they don't have kakitu. Na wakasema mimi hapana, I will have to change the money story for my family. These are the people who are setting boundaries earlier and they are facing enormous cultural backlash for it. I like to share a story. There was a story I heard in the news a couple of months ago that there was a Gen Z, 21 years of age, true story, who is, they're working remotely and they've been able to be taken to the university and all that. and huyu ni mtu amejituma, and they've been able to now get a remote work, and they're paying him good money. And I remember the reason why this story was trending is because this Gen Z took their parents to court. True story. And the reason why they took their parents to court was because alienda akaambia koti that my parents are forcing me to give them money, which is my money, you know. And his basic point of reasoning was this: I did not ask for me to be brought to this world. As a kid or as a child, it was their responsibility to take care of me, to give me shelter, to give me education. It is there in my constitution. So why is it when I am now earning money, my parents now want to come and claim that money, yet it is not mine? I'm giving them an X amount of money, a portion, but they see it's not enough. And they keep bombarding me with phone calls. I don't want this. Amazing. I know that story, and I know it was during it was on a call radio station. I was listening to it as I was going somewhere, and people were calling and hurling all types of insults. Some of them saying this person is ungrateful, huyu ni mtu hajui, wengine wanasema utalaaniwa. And even some of Gen Z's called and said, you know what, it is not our responsibility, our full responsibility to take care of them. Why? Because you should have planned yourself. So how does this go around? And so we are looking at some of the habits, and even as I wind down and look to pass the baton back to a financial coach, there's this thing called the millennial trap. And this is the true statistic from Momentum UNISA South Africa Wealth Study 2022 and the KBA Financial Health Survey in 2023. This is what they say, that the Kenyan millennials are the most financially educated generation in history. They know about budgeting, they know about savings, they know about investments, they know about retirements. So, knowledge they have. Yes, they know I need to budget, they know I need to invest. But where is it missing? Where is the line not coming to its conclusion? They said that millennials spend an average of 19% of their income to the extended family monthly. This is not their dad, this is not their children, this is not their parents. This is the extended, the cousins, the uncles, the gukawa, ankoa, shoshoa, auntie fulani. 19% of the income goes to the extended family. 67% of them describe this as an obligation. Yani ye hana choice. Anaonanga tu hiyo simu, anajua yo, time is up. You need to send that 3Gs. You need to send that 5K. You need to send that 230 bob. Inafaa iende isaidie ile ng'ombe ikabuliwe na vitu kama hizo. Millennials, this is a shocking stat. Listen to it. Millennials start saving for retirement 8 years later than peers without black tax obligations. A whole 8 years. So these are people who, let's say they start their employment journey at 25, right? So they'll start it at around 34, 35 years of age. That's when they start preparing for retirement. Why? Because the 8 years have been taken by something called black tax. And the reason is this: do we blame millennials? No, we cannot blame them. It's because millennials grew up watching their parents sacrifice every penny that they had for the family. And they inherited this behavior before they had any words to question it. They saw how their parents were suffering, how their uncles brought them up, how they were able to go in their homes without nothing. And they vowed and said, you know what? I need to take it up. I can see we have some few minutes remaining. So the Gen Z said, this is not me, and I want something different for me. Gen Zs are saying that 40% are more likely to have a personal investment or retirement before the age of 25 than millennials. The same Gen Z, 58% of them say that they will set clear financial limits with family compared to 23% of millennials. And the Gen Zs are reframing black tax as a boundary issue and not a cultural obligation. The Gen Zs are quite clear, and this is what I'm saying. I am not selfish with my money. I'm just prioritizing on how my future is going to be, and this will be non-negotiable. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the split that we have between the millennials and the Gen Zs. So allow me to take it forth and pass the baton back to Kennon, so that Kennon can be able to tell us. Kennon, now we've had the millennial trap, we've seen the Gen Zs and what they're saying about black. So how is that affecting us? Kennon, if you can be able to hear me.
Loud and clear, Edward. Asante sana for taking us through that very, very informative session within a very, very short time. We appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that this session is recorded, so you should be able to listen to this at your leisure. It's just that we do not want to take a lot of time for you today. We just have about 5 to less than 10 minutes to go. And for me, it's just a reflection point. So I'll invite any of us who has any question on this matter, please put it in the chat section. We should be able to either answer it now or take it as one of the key things you're going to answer in our event. There's an event coming up on 7th of May. 7th of May is a Saturday. No, 9th of May, sorry. 9th of May is a Saturday. And we are meeting at the Sandbox from 9:30 in the morning. And why are we meeting? We are meeting to discuss this issue of black tax. What is it exactly? We want to take time and in that session, what we'll do, we'll have real life experiences. I know Edward has laid a very good foundation right now on what black tax is and where it came from and what are people experiencing. We'll be talking about various scenarios on Saturday. Edward, maybe you can take us back to the slides on the case studies. We have a real case studies. A gentleman called Brian. Brian has obligations that he needs to attend to. Okay, these are just real case examples. Come on Saturday. This is what we'll be talking about. Who will help Brian? When will his life ever begin? If he has to send mom's outkeeper 15,000, he has a younger sister's university fee for 12,000. He has an uncle's loan that is assisting to pay of 8,000, and there's a random emergency that keeps coming up between 5 and 20,000. It can be anything between that. How will he solve this problem? How will he move forward? How can he even start budgeting? The next case example is someone called Amina. Amina is a HR professional. She's 29 years old. What is her story like? She also has obligations to run. She lives in Mombasa. She earns 65,000 shillings a month. But you notice 32% of that amount is actually going to black tax every month because there is a younger brother's rent to pay of 8,000. There is mom's side hustle business which needs to be supported, 6,000 shillings. There's a phone bill for the father, 2,000, and a cousin small loan that came and it never came back. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are not saying that helping is bad. In fact, I'll tell you, helping is good. But who is taking care of Amina? After Amina does all these things, who is taking care of her? Is there even a formula to what we're saying? That's why you need to come on Saturday because these are the things we're going to talk about, real life scenarios and getting answers to these. The third person, she is a business person. She's done her catering business from scratch. She has labored to ensure her catering business is up and running. All right. She makes 200,000 shillings on a good month. You meet Grace. She's 42 years old and everything is working well apart from not saving. At 42, she has no business savings. If something happens to this business, it will go under. Yet Grace works very hard. Grace earns money. Grace is helping people. She has nephews she's dealing with. She has mother-in-law's household. She has brother's business capital because she's in business and the brother wants to jump in. So she helps. Harambe contributions are here from the church. There's nothing wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, how do we navigate this? And on Saturday, we'll be combining this with the fact that this actually might affect your mental health. So on Saturday, we're bringing a mental health expert, and she'll be telling us the finances bit is one, but if you listen to Brian's life, Amina's life, Grace's life, what is their state of mind? And that's why we are saying on Saturday, what's different on Saturday is that there is an aspect of looking at the mental health part of it. In soft place will be happy you please invest for shilling. For us, how we give you a fast issues. Or we bring in live cases, we bring in experts in matters that are beyond personal financial management. And why do we do this? Because we always want to see that will help you manage your personal finances. You can do that after the black tax. Edward will tell you that these are monthly meetings that we have. We have something coming up on debt management. How do we do debt management? That will be the subject coming up in the month of June. In the month of July, we're talking about investments. This is a very, very common one. We'll be tackling investments. If we want to help your calendar interest you, there's a WhatsApp number there, 0714424434. That is Edward's number. Please WhatsApp what interests you. Is it black tax? Is it debt? Is it investments? And we're asking so that you get the best of it all. Should you want the 3 sessions, just pay 2,699 and you are in for the 3. And this is kind of information you not get off the internet. It is very well curated information for you, right? Great. So I'm not seeing any question coming up in the chat right now. So I take it that we are comfortable and from you. Thank you very much for time to join on this call. Ladies and gentlemen, it was nice having you. I think I take it back to Edward to wind us down the Kibeti community and see you later. Asanteni sana. Back to you, Edward.
Okay, thank you, Kennon, for that, and also for taking us through the journey. So as you actually pointed it out, we are very much excited to have all of you here. Thank you, Progresso. Thank you, Noah Songa. Thank you, Lucy Njoroge. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Morethi Wangi, and all of us for being able to join us. As you can see, this is a topic that is quite dear to our hearts. And I can see Noah giving his thank you message. Thank you, Noah, as well. Great session, Kennon and Edward. Asante sana. We're looking forward to see you guys on the line because we know that there's so much in store for us. Black tax is not there to make you feel guilty or to make you feel as if this is the end of the world. But we're here to make sure that we shed the right light. And as Kennon has mentioned, we do have practical stories of people who are coming to share. And you're actually going to come and see, you know what? In this thing. But how can I move out? And the first step is normally the hardest. But as soon as you've taken the first one, then everything's gonna be okay. So I want to give you thanks, Progresso, Noah, Lucy, Grace, saying Asanteni sana for this session. We'll be the last ones to leave. Have a good one and take care of yourselves. Looking forward to the session. Asanteni sana and see you in the next one. Thank